Hi, this is Chris Brown. Welcome to this brief video that will teach your managers to identify 5 profit-draining behaviors that are happening and costing you money today. So enjoy this brief webinar and don't leave any more dollars on the dial.
Before we get started, let's briefly review our subject matter for this session. First, we will start by giving you a flash introduction to Myrrh Consulting and how our expertise in this area has been developed. Then, we will discuss the primary challenge service-based sales companies face today and how to develop the right mindset to lead efforts to overcome it. Next, we will share the 5 behaviors we see time and again that bleed profits unnecessarily and give you a formula to calculate the amount of money you may be leaving on the drive if your team is exhibiting these behaviors. Lastly, we will share a few gifts from Myrrh Consulting and then let you get back to your busy day. So, let's get started. Myrrh helps companies drive new levels of performance using your existing resources. So the gains we speak of do not require big risks or infrastructure expenditures. We do this simply by helping companies capitalize on their frontline opportunities. Nothing is more frustrating than to spend money in marketing to generate revenue opportunities and then not to capitalize on them. We work with our clients to help solve that problem. Just to give you confidence that what we're talking about isn't just some type of conceptual mumbo-jumbo, here are just a few of the companies where our consultants have worked in the trenches to forge and apply these practices to great success over our 25 years of experience. Now that is out of the way, let's focus on your company and how you can equip your sales leaders to drive more profits today. Ask yourself, do my managers understand a small 10 to 20% increase in top-line revenue results in a much higher percentage increase in profit? Conversely, do they understand a 10 to 20% drop in top-line revenue reduces profit much more than 10 to 20%? In fact, for many industries, due to the economies of scale that exist on revenue improvements elicited from improved in-store sales, a rise in top-line sales revenue by 10 to 20% can improve the bottom line by as much as 50 to 100%. That revelation in and of itself for frontline sales leaders will generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in added profit annually. Where can a company go today to generate these types of margin gains? So let me ask you a question. Who is your best revenue producer? Is it the person with the highest sales in your company? Does that person ever get complaints from guests about sales pressure? If they do, I would pose they are not your best revenue producer. But the rep in your company who sells at the highest level and ensures your guests are happy and coming back is. As a leader concerned with retaining and building your customer base, I'm sure you would agree. That leads us to clarifying the right mindset for managing frontline sales. As this diagram depicts, we always want to balance the short-term need for revenue and upgrades with the long-term need to retain our guest loyalty. In addition, we also want our representatives to believe sales is service and not perform in spite of it. Service and sales are not mutually exclusive. And lastly, because consumers are less patient than ever before and have many options, we want to get them through as quickly as possible. The right mindset fuses the best combination of service, sales, and speed for optimal profits today and tomorrow. Recently, my wife Eleanor, who stands at 4'10" and is quiet as a church mouse, went into GNC to buy some vitamins. Upon coming home, she was frustrated. So I asked her, "Babe, what's wrong?" And she said, "It's that darn GNC store. I'm never going back there again." So I asked her why. Well, they kept trying to upgrade me. So I asked her to tell me what happened, and she said, "I went to buy our box of vitamins like I normally do, and the rep kept asking me to buy a second box for a discounted rate." I said, "Well, that sounds like a pretty good deal, so what's so bad about that?" She said, "It's not that. It's just that they wouldn't let me go. They kept pushing me. I'm never going back to that store." Wow. I just thought how many companies have well-meaning reps out there thinking they're doing the right thing by really pushing hard for upgrades. What they're really doing is pushing their customers right to their competitors and doing real damage to their business and brand. No one can afford this type of feedback with someone walking away mad or frustrated in the age of social media. To that, we firmly believe a complaint harbored is much more damaging than a complaint expressed at the point of sale. Knowing this, how should a company orchestrate their sales efforts today? Some companies default to the baby powder approach here on the right, just telling the reps to only sell to those customers who already want to buy. Of course, this leaves chunks of profit on the drive because many buyers don't know they want to buy when they first pull up. On the flip side, other companies will just pressure sell without any care of how it is being perceived, using what we call the gunpowder approach. They increase sales at the moment, but also burn many guests who vow never to return. So how does a company who needs the profit-driving impact of higher sales ensure their efforts don't push customers to their competitors? It's a conundrum, but we believe we've solved it here at Myrrh. The answer is to allow for emotional pressure in a conversation to build without the guest ever feeling that the pressure is emanating from the company or the salesperson. The way this is achieved is to become supremely likable and ensure you truly uncover their needs so you can just match your products to the guest instead of selling them to the guest. We've installed this approach with many, many companies. It allows them to thread the needle and find that nexus between optimal service and revenue. Now, here are the 5 behaviors your frontline sales manager should be looking for every day. If they can identify and reduce them, it will pay off tremendously for you and your organization. The first behavior is financial self-projection, which is the inability or unwillingness of a frontline salesperson to confidently offer a product or service at a price point beyond their personal ability to afford that item. This manifests itself in reps not offering your top packages because they cannot afford those items personally. Unfortunately, this also results in your most affluent customers not getting the education and service that meets their needs or wants. We saw this extensively with Sandals and Beaches Resorts in their call centers across the Caribbean. Their frontline reps make an average income of $15,000 to $18,000 per year. But time and time again, we found they were afraid to offer their vacations, which frequently exceeded $5,000 per week. They were projecting their own financial limitations on the caller. We have since learned this mindset is everywhere. It's a common issue, so managers need to reinforce the value of those higher items and the fact that everyone earns and inherits different levels of wealth. Their job as representatives is to simply match their guests' needs with the best product or service and let the chips fall where they may. They are actually complimenting the guest by offering their better services. The second behavior is prejudging. Probably the most common malady experienced by sales organizations and advisors alike is prejudging whether or not a customer will buy based solely on their or their vehicle's appearance. Whether it is assuming someone will spend big based on perceived affluence of the guest, or more commonly, the assumption that someone will not buy based on their appearance, are both demonstrations of what we call financial prejudice. A rep we were working with in Detroit once told me, when he was younger, he used to bag groceries. One day, he helped a humble elderly man take his groceries to his old pickup. Walking back to the store, he couldn't help but notice all of his fellow employees had their faces pasted to the window watching him. When he went inside, they all asked him if he knew who that customer was. And he excitedly replied, "I have no idea, but he just tipped me $100. That man was Sam Walton, founder of Walmart. You just never know who you're serving, so treat everyone like they just won the lottery. They may have. You see, in every sales situation, there are different levels of skills required to open those doors of opportunity. First level sales, or gimmies as we like to call them, only require a positive, friendly person to receive the sale. However, level 2 sales require a rep to be friendly, but also to be exceedingly knowledgeable about the features and benefits of their services and how they will help the guest. Then there are other level 3 opportunities. These are the most difficult because they not only require a positive attitude and expert product knowledge, they also require a clear, leading presentation style so the guest feels served and not sold. Only the very best salespeople can unlock all doors of opportunity and make it easy for the guest to say yes. Of course, there will always be sales doors that remain locked, which are not really sales opportunities at all. These are customers who are not going to buy in any situation, regardless of the skills of the salesperson or the quality or price of the product. They are, however, opportunities to create goodwill and future business. The key here is to not be frustrated by those no's and to just move on to the next opportunity positively. Now we know number 3 is one that drives leaders crazy. That is habitual discounting. This conditioned behavior from employees then conditions customers to expect the discount even when it's unjustified. Every company should track the percentage of discounts applied by every representative, or at least the number of discounted dollars as a percentage of the dollars generated. If you do, you will find some little pots of gold hidden among your sales team performance. Allowing unnecessary discounting to go on too long can transform your discounted price into your actual price, which effectively devalues your product or service. Sell the product or service, not the discount. Number 4, learned helplessness, is another conditioned response that shows up when a salesperson runs into long dry spells, which could be for a host of reasons, of no or low sales opportunities. This becomes so discouraging that the salesperson quits even trying to sell, thinking, what's the use? A skilled sales manager will anticipate, identify, and correct this psychology by rebuilding their confidence and ensuring the advisor continues to focus on the fundamentals of their sales approach. They will share that sometimes you can do a perfect pitch and still not get the sale. Other times, you can butcher an offer and the guest will say yes. In short, you can't control the customer. You can only control what you do. So be consistent with your approach, and the pendulum will eventually swing back in your favor. And lastly, number 5 is misinterpreting price comments as objections. It's easy to mistake a passionately expressed or loud comment about a price as a strong or even angry objection, instead of what it really is, just a comment. When this happens, the misinterpretation results in the advisor cliff dropping down the menu much further than necessary, leaving a lot of those dollars on the drive. Here are a few comments that are misinterpreted frequently. How much? Are you kidding me? Wow, that's expensive. Teach your sales managers to watch for unnecessary revenue drops when they overhear phrases like these, and you will vault your revenue per transaction. So there you have it, the 5 behaviors your sales team can correct today that will pay off in substantial profit lifts. It takes some time, but with practice, you will help your advisors move through the 4 levels of service-based sales proficiency. Unconscious incompetence, where the learner is even aware of their lack of skill, to conscious incompetence, where the learner realizes how important certain skills are, but have not achieved mastery of them yet. This eventually leads to conscious competency, where the advisor can perform the steps, but has to think about them mechanically each time. And finally, to where we want to be, taking care of guests and driving revenue with unconscious competence. Now an innate ability they can perform without even thinking about it. Powerful stuff. So you might be thinking, well, Chris, how much money do you think we're leaving on the drive? The answer is I don't know for sure without doing a discovery. Well, let's try to ballpark it for you. Using this formula, you can determine how many dollars you may be leaving on the drive. First, list your number of annual guests. Next, take your top revenue performer that also provides great service and compare them to your weakest performer. Take the revenue variance and ticket average between those 2 advisors and multiply it by 50%. Then, take that amount and multiply it by your annual number of guests. This is your annual gross revenue opportunity. Next, determine your average COGS, cost of goods sold, for one added sale. For example, if your materials cost is 20%, use 20%. This leaves 80% as your profit percentage on that added revenue. Lastly, take your gross revenue opportunity and multiply it by your profit percentage, and voila! That is how many dollars you may be leaving on the drive annually. One cautionary note, do not let this number discourage you. You're already successful, and this is just another big opportunity in front of you. Now it's just a question of how best to capture it. Focusing on these 5 behaviors is a great start. If you're thinking you don't have the resources necessary to capture this opportunity on your own, we understand and we can help. As such, I'm providing you with 2 complimentary gifts from Myrrh Consulting just for watching this webinar. First is a free 1-hour coaching or collaboration session for you or any members of your team, leaders, managers, or salespeople. This is great as an intervention or as a simple coaching session to give your team members some new ideas to try. The second gift is for you. If you'd like us to conduct an on-site discovery to truly quantify what opportunity might exist for your team, we'll visit your site or sites for a 1-day discovery at no charge and share with you a comprehensive set of findings which are yours to keep whether or not you ever decide to partner with Myrrh. If either of these are of interest, kindly let me know and we'll be happy to coordinate them for you. No strings attached. Just keep this in mind if you ever have a need. As leaders, we know we can always make more money, but we can't make more time. I genuinely appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your busy day to watch this webinar, and I hope you found it valuable. On behalf of our team here at Myrrh Consulting, have a fantastic fourth quarter, and again, thank you.